Hello and welcome. You're watching Out of Office right here on NDTV Profit. We all know our today's guest. We've read his reports. We know his views on the market. But now it's time to find out what lies beneath Ridhim Desai. Hi Ridhim.
Hi Devina. How are you?
Thank you so much for taking out the time to join us. Enjoying rock music, that's one angle that we know about you, and that's precisely why we've come here. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about what you like and how you draw inspiration of the things that you like into what you do.
Yeah, that's right. I think as far as stock markets are concerned, you can draw inspiration from almost any place. Anything in the world can be made into a business. And a lot of things that other people teach us are applicable in the context of stocks. So you take the case of, my favorite band, Rush. And the story goes back to 1975 when they were a small upcoming band. And
they're still on till today.
Yeah, they're on 40 years later. I hope to have a career as long as theirs. But in 75, they'd just done a couple of albums. They were coming up, and things didn't quite work out well with their third album. It was called Caress of Steel. They did a tour which they called Down the Tubes tour because everything was going wrong with them. And then, as usual, the recording company, the music company said, the fourth album is going to be like this. Otherwise, we don't have a deal. And these guys stood up and said, no, we're going to do it our way. And if it doesn't work, we quit this business and go back to what we were doing before we started music. And I think that's a moment when I learned about this much later in my life, when I started listening to music and music became a part of day-to-day living. It struck me as, that level of integrity is so crucial to success in life, whether it is in stock markets or anywhere else. And I think in the financial markets, integrity is probably the most important thing. You're in a position where you are influencing how people put their money to work, how they save. And if there is any shortage of integrity, it just won't work.
And the ban for so long teaches you longevity. So.
Yeah, well, that's survival at its best. And it's all about discipline, really, which is what stock market investing is about as well. Right? It's a lot of discipline that you need in life. It's not about waking up one morning and getting inspired. It's about every single day looking around, looking at things, learning from them, and then putting it to work into stock markets. Stock markets are tricky because we're trying to deal with the future. We're trying to predict the future, which, honestly, we really don't know what it is going to bring to us. So the discipline that requires to be able to succeed for longer time frames. Certainly you get inspired from other people who have survived that long in other areas. Like this particular band Rush has.
Right. And you've made references to them in your reports as well. You've drawn references.
Actually, this is one aspect. They also represent what I think is lyrical genius. The drummer, Neil Peart, he's the lyricist, which is very weird because not too many bands have got their drummers writing lyrics. But he does, and he's a big book reader, and he's been writing lyrics ever since he joined the band in '74. And the stuff that he writes about, I think, inspires me on various levels in the stock market. So there's a lot of connection I draw, and you're right.
Give us an example.
There was a particular song of his in which he talked about how a rabbit would feel going under the wheels of a car. And that's how I felt the market was at the start of 2008. It was like a rabbit that was going to go under the wheels, and things were going to really go haywire, or they're going to go really wrong because markets were very rich in terms of valuations, and expectations were so high, and inflation was rising, and growth expectations were too high, and of course, it was triggered by a financial crisis elsewhere. But we had the setting here. Exactly the opposite now, if you look at the stock market, which is that there's a lot of pessimism, there's a lot of gloom. So, there was one
valuations are cheaper.
Valuations are cheaper. I think at the stock level, things are very attractive. and it's really the opposite of 2008 in terms of sentiment. So investors don't want to buy equities; they want to stay away from it, and so well, that's how we have come a full circle. But yeah, in 2008, that was one of the parallels I can draw between the lyrics of Rush and some of the stuff that I write for investors.
Another aspect of you is that Formula One racing really appeals to you. You're a big avid fan of that. Speed, and probably put that onto stock markets, that's disaster.
No, there's one thing which is very common between Formula One racing and stock markets, and that is the glamour content.
Okay.
So both have a very big glamour quotient to the outside world. So sitting
inside what happens?
Sitting inside, I can be absolutely loud about this. There is no glamour. It's a lot of hard grind. It's 12, 14-hour work days, and
and you don't even have a pit stop.
Yeah, which is I think very similar to Formula One racing or to the movie business. The movie business looks so glamorous, but having seen a little bit of the inside, you know it's a lot of hard work. These actors are not having a party.
Yeah.
They're working a lot, very hard to earn their living. And likewise in Formula One racing. So one of the commonalities is the glamour quotient to the outside world. It seems very glamorous, but it's a lot of hard work inside. There's a lot of technicality involved. There's a lot of technical expertise involved. It's also very mysterious to the common man. So, Formula One racing, I think, has 1 billion viewers worldwide.
Yeah.
But not all of them understand the details. Very similar to the stock market, which is that there are billions of people investing into stocks, but not everybody understands the intricacies, the details. There is a mystery. There is an element of unknown. And I know that's another parallel.
And that's where you come in to make sense of the things that you don't understand.
Right. I mean, so the way I approach it is by trying to lay frameworks. I think trying to make hard predictions about the future is a very is an act which is full of folly. I think it's not something that we can do day in, day out. Whereas if you lay a framework and you provide a context and allow investors to apply their judgment to that context, I think the result is a lot better.
India's #1 news app just got even better. Download NDTV's new app. Fully optimized for Retina display. Full screen view. Faster response time. And Sudoku. NDTV's new iPad app. Download now.